This chapter highlighted Oda's wonderful, wonderful ability to take a character such as Usopp and have him go through all these peaks and valleys of character development, and it's just entertaining and delightful. One Piece, chapter 465, Pirate Usopp versus that mystery woman Perona. Well, hello my brothers and sisters and fellow pessimists of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, and I'm here to bring you another review on the awesome and intricately woven, delicately balanced, ultimately flavorful tale that is One Piece. Excuse me. The latter half of the chapter that we just finished off wound up seeing Usopp, of course, chasing Perona through the halls, and all of a sudden something seemed to click or occur to her, and at the end of the chapter, after he had kind of slowed down or at least stopped the advance of Kumasi, she was seen floating outside the window with all the confidence in the world that she was going to take him out. So that's how things left off, and things actually wind up taking a turn in this chapter. We go from the split chapters to the entire chapter focusing solely on Usopp versus Ghost Princess Perona. And we see the way that everything takes its turn, I thought was done very well. There's so many neat things and so many great aspects to this series that even doing the chapter-by-chapter videos that I do just cannot fully realize or really give, I think anyway, the credit where it's due to this wonderful tale that it is. You have chapters that seem a little bit goofier, some that are a little bit lighthearted, some that are very serious, some that are action-packed, some that are very story or character-driven, and just absolutely wonderful the different types of chapters you get. This particular chapter, focusing solely on, of course, Usopp had initially had the upper hand against Perona because he's so negative and so pessimistic, right? And that was just a really funny way of being able to empower Usopp, in my opinion, and bring what is normally a human, very weak character in a lot of senses, physically anyway, and being able to go and put him in a position of power, so to speak, to be able to add to the group and being the only one, at least that we could tell so far in Thriller Bark, that actually had a chance of harming or taking out or facing up against this Ghost Princess Perona, right? So we wind up seeing, and she's a little bit creepy looking too. The way her eyes are and they never move and stuff like that, the way it's drawn, she reminds me not of a ghost princess, she reminds me of the bride of Tommy Rod, the one of the vice chefs of Gourmet Corp from Toriko. So just the kind of way that she's drawn and everything like that, just that's what she reminds me of, like the younger sister, the daughter, or maybe the wife or whatever, somewhere in that family of weird insect-like people, because that's what I see when I see Perona. Nonetheless, though, as the chapter progresses on, we see that Perona now, she does seem to have the upper hand against Usopp, and she's like, anything you do just winds up passing through me. At first, she goes and says that she's going to reach her hands inside to Usopp, and she's going to grab his heart and crush it, right? And Usopp starts freaking, oh no, like he's in pain, and it's the usual Usopp thing. He goes and he starts like acting out something that's not really even happening to him yet, right? And that's part of the charm and comedy that Usopp brings to the table. And that's why he's one of the most important members of the crew, because his place is a unique one that he fits into in the crew, and that's why I really do. I like him, and I like him for these type of moments. So he acts this whole thing out, and then all of a sudden he's like, wait, and she's like, no, I can't actually do that. If I could have done that, I would have done that to begin with, and then she's like, no, see, I can pass through you. So at one point she becomes bigger, he fires a star at her, and she winds up coming back down to size, and all this other sort of stuff now, but she can't hit him, though. So we're in this kind of Mexican standoff where she can't hit him, and he can't hurt her. And as the chapter is progressing and kind of coming towards the end, and I see about, I don't know, a dozen or so pages of this bullshit, I'm thinking, what kind of crap is this? So then Usopp, the thinking man that he is, finally starts going and thinking in his head. He starts going, wait, hold on a second. Because he was, first he starts with all the self-doubt stuff. I'm so sorry, I should have been able to do something, woe is me, feel for me. But then as he goes through the progression in his head, he starts thinking back on, wait, hold on a second, this bitch was just running from me like 2 minutes ago, right? So if I couldn't hurt her ever, then there's got to be something. He's like, I smell some bullshit here. There's got to be something afoul, right? Something going on. So he goes and he finally figures it out at the end of the chapter, and he winds up going and he's walking around. He's like, wait, there's a room nearby here, isn't there? She's like, huh? And he winds up firing one of these exploding stars that he has, and he winds up blowing open a hole in the wall, and there's Princess Perona sitting on a bed in that hole, her actual body. So whatever she did when he got distracted by Kumasi and she disappeared, she went and basically hid, and then decided to go, and she can obviously make some kind of astral projection, almost like doppelganger, I guess you would call it, shadow, whatever you want to call it, of her. And that's what she did, and that's what she basically wound up, running Usopp around all over the place. Now, I can tell you that this would not have been at the top of my favorite chapters list had I read this 6-7 years ago when it came out. Now, having the benefit of being able to see the bigger picture and being able to go on from this review and read the next chapter and not having to wait a whole week, I can appreciate it for what it is. It's a good moment that goes and slows things down a little bit, and it brings Usopp front and center, and it's kind of neat how Oda does this with the peaks and valleys. Usopp, a couple of chapters ago, you're thinking, this is funny, he's so pessimistic, he's going to take her out, he's the man, he's chasing her, and then all of a sudden, man, it drops. Everything drops in this chapter, and you think, oh man, Usopp can't, even Usopp's like, damn, I'm back to worthless again, right? And that's the beauty and the charm of a tale like this. By the end of that chapter, you experience the low and then the highs, and by the end of the chapter, now Usopp is back up into the upper echelons of I can do something, but now you not only have that feeling going on, but you also have that profound respect for him for going and thinking it through and going and figuring out that, hey, he was being duped by this woman, she was just running for her life a few minutes ago, there has to be something more afoot. And that's what I like about him, man. He's a problem solver, and he does it in his own goofy sort of way, So very, very cool stuff. Now, that's how the chapter winds up ending off over here. And my chapter question for you, brothers and sisters, is what are your thoughts ultimately on Usopp and him kind of being brought up a couple of chapters ago, and then of course the valley in this chapter I would call the peaks and valleys, the valley of kind of feeling like, oh, I can't do anything again, and then by the end of the chapter, Usopp's back up on that pedestal and now he can contribute something to the team. What are your thoughts overall on Usopp and his character progression? Because if you think about it, that's been his character progression from the beginning of the series. He does something good and useful, even if it's, out of the ordinary, or even if it's by accident, and then something bad happens. It ruins his confidence, something, something bad. So I want to know what your thoughts are on Usopp and the character progression that he's experienced all the way now through almost 500 chapters, and what your thoughts are on that. Leave your answer to that question in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We look forward to catching all of you in the next one, Nation. Thanks for watching. Remember to check out my other channels and follow me on Facebook and Twitter too.